Okay, so we are doing the unit arithmetic with rational numbers. So adding decimals, subtracting decimals, word problems, dividing fractions with whole numbers, mixed numbers, word problems, multiplication with decimals, division, multi-digit division, dividing whole numbers, dividing decimals, etc. So this is the whole unit. So a lot of this stuff you should already know how to do. Maybe it actually depends because it depends. Let's not even say that. So maybe this is stuff you learned before, but we're gonna go at it as if it's never been learned at all. Okay, so let's go to the whiteboard. So let's start with decimals. So let's do decimals and fractions separately. Since these are kind of complicated, I'm gonna split this into two videos. So if I had a decimal like 3.20 plus 5.87. So adding decimals and subtracting, really simple. Best thing you can do is to line the decimals up and just add numbers like you normally would. That's simple. That we can do. Same thing with subtracting. Let's say I had 10.08 minus 2.76. Subtract or 1. And you get this. 17.32. Okay, so now let me make the text a little bigger. Let's do multiplication with decimals and dividing decimals. So multiplication with decimals, you do want to line the decimals up. For example, 1.7 times 0.5. So just multiply this as you would multiply 17 times 5 without the decimal. So 7 times 5 is 35. This will get you 85, right? Same thing here. This is 85, but you have to worry about the decimal placing. So since this is 1 over, you want this one's also 1 over. So you can see that the decimal went over twice total. So you want to do the same here. So the answer for 1.7 times 0.5 is 0.85. So very similar to how you would do multi-digit multiplication. Let's say I have 1.9 times 3. Same thing. You want to multiply this as if it's 19 times 3. This is 27. This is 3 times 1, which is 3, 4, 5. And then since this is 1 over, you want to also go 1 over. And that's the answer. So that's how you would do multi-digit multiplication. And I can keep going, on and on. I can do 1.87 times 0.42. Okay, this would be 14, 16, 17, 2, 16, 17, 2, 3. Next row. I actually need to make this smaller. I can have more room. Okay. Next row, always put a 0 if you're going to go into the next row. Okay, 7 times 4 is 28. 8 times 4 is 32, 33, 34. 4 times 1 is 4. Add the 3, 7. So let me just check my work. 7 times 2 is 14, 16, 17, 2, 3. Okay, that looks right. 28, 32, 33, 34, 4, 5, 6. Okay, just checking my work. Always good to check your work, especially when you're doing things by hand. So when you're doing these, by the way, I should have mentioned, do not use a calculator. We are doing these by hand. So using a calculator would be cheating. So don't use a calculator. Okay, so now let's add everything up. You can check your answers with the calculator though. That I don't mind. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. Okay, now the decimal placing. Well, since this is over 1, 2, this is over 1, 2. So that's a total of 4. We need to move this over 4. So the answer to this is 0.7854. And that's multiplication with decimals. Adding decimals, subtracting decimals, easy. Dividing, multiplication, easy. Okay, let's go to division with decimals. Division with decimals is a little harder. That's why I like to save it for last. So let's say I have 0.42 and 0.3. First thing you want to do is move the decimal place over. So since I moved it over 1 there, I need to move it over 1 here and put it right above. Okay, so 3 goes into 4 one time. 3 times 1 is 3. Subtract the 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. And you now get 12. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So your answer is 1.4. And you can check this by doing multiplication, which is also good practice for doing both. Okay, let's try another one. Let's say I have 0.9 and let's see, 0.9 and 91.8. Okay, so once again, you want to move the decimal over first. So now it's here. 9 goes into 9 one time. 9 can't go into 1. So 9 goes into 9 one time with 0 left over. 9 can't go into 1. So I need to bring down this 8. Add a 0 there, which I did. 9 goes into 18 twice. The answer to this is 102. Simple. Can be tricky at first. So in order to do decimals, of course, you have to know multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. You should have learned that early on. There's no way you should be doing decimals before you do, there's no way you should be doing decimals if you don't know how to add and subtract and whatnot. Okay, so now let's go in Khan Academy and practice a little here. According to Jack's pedometer, he walked 2.783 kilometers while taking care of the livestock in the morning and 3.124 kilometers taking care of the livestock in the evening. How far did he walk taking care of the livestock today? Okay, we know we're going to add. So let me get the drawing pen. We have 2.783 plus 3.124. Line the decimals up. When adding, be very neat. Mistakes come from when you're sloppy and not lining things up. Okay, 4 plus 3 is 7. 8 plus 2 is 10. 7, 8, 9. Decimal is here. 5. So he walked 5.907 kilometers. Well, so word problems. It's all about reading comprehension when setting these up. Orla and Eduardo each looked at a strand of their hair under a microscope and measured the diameter. Orla's strand was 0.005 centimeters in diameter and Edward's was 0.012 centimeters in diameter. How much greater was Eduardo's? So we're going to do subtraction. His was more in diameter than Orla's. So his goes on top, hers on the bottom. 12 minus 5 is 7. 0, 0. There we go. So 0.007. And how could I check? If I added it back with Orla's, I would get back to 0.12. So that is the answer for this one. Also, remember on Khan Academy, if you get something wrong, word problems can be a pain because sometimes you might set it up wrong. Get something wrong, Khan Academy will show you how to do it. That's the good thing. So word problems are just one of those things you have to practice. It's all about reading comprehension. And it's not, reading comprehension is not something that you can, it's not really something you could teach when it comes to math. It really just takes practice, and you just have to read things and understand what you're reading, ask questions. What did they give you? What are they looking for? So when you're doing word problems, that's really important. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna do fractions in a different video. Okay, so let's see. Adding, subtracting. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. I think I'm gonna do quiz 3, and then quiz 2 is the fractions. Okay, so let's go down here. So this is a little more complicated. So 51, since 51 is the second number, that's gonna come next. This is going to involve knowing multi-digit multiplication, just so you know. So 51 divided with 3.162. Well, put the decimal here. 51 can't go into 31. It can go into, sorry, it can't go into 31. But 51 can go into 316. Let's see. And this is when you're doing this by hand, you have to play around with multiplication. So, 51 times 6. Okay, that gets me 6. That gets me 30, 306. Okay, 51 times 7. This gets me 7, 35. That's too big. So I have to go with 306. 306 and subtract 16 minus 6 is, I'm drawing a blank, 16, 7, no, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so we have 102 left over. So 51 went into 316 6 times. Now we have 102. Let me erase this. So 51, how many times can it go into 102? Let's see. Well, 51, if you think of it, 50, 50, 50 plus 50 is 100. And 2. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so 2 times. And there's my answer. 0.06. So this definitely takes practice if you are new to this. So once again, remember, if you get something wrong, Khan Academy will show you how to do it. So here, you can see they're very neat when they lined everything up. This one's very long. Wow. Okay, so let's go down to the bottom. So you can see here, they're very neat when they lined everything up. Stay organized. Take it one row at a time. 4 times 2 is 8. So let's look at this spotlight. Okay, so here, 4 times 2 is 8. 7 times 2 is 14. Next row, add a 0. 4 times 2 is 8. 7 times 2 is 14. Next row, add a 0 and another 0 because you're in the third row. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 28, 29. There it is. This moved over 1, 2. This moved over 1, 2, 3. So we're going to move our decimal over 5 places and add everything up. So it's just more steps when the problems get longer, but it's not that bad. So that's decimals. If you have any questions on anything, please let me know. Remember, when you get something wrong on Khan Academy, please, to get better, see why you got it wrong. See how it's done. They will walk you through the steps. That's the way you'll get better, especially doing stuff by hand. Doing stuff by hand also involves taking your time. Take your time, stay organized, and just avoid little mistakes. Usually when I see learners doing things by hand, they make little mistakes like, 17 times 2. Oh, 7 times 2 is 18. I see stuff like that, and that's not right. So careful, make sure you know your multiplication tables. If not, please review them. Let me know if you have any questions on decimals. Good luck.